Hello there, just wanted to do a little video today to show you the problems that I've been having with threshing Bere barley on the machinery that I have. So Bere barley is this stuff. It's a 6-row old variety of barley, and significantly for us today is the awns, these big long beards that are quite tough and well stuck on, and that's what's causing us problems with threshing it using some of this old machinery. So I have here, fortunately, a choice of 2 threshing machines, but unfortunately they are both peg drum machines, so there's not really much of a choice in it. So what is that? Let's have a look. So this threshing machine here is a tiny little hand cranked or even pedal powered. You can see the bottom, you can sit and pedal it. It's a tiny little very simple threshing machine. So what we have in here is a drum with these metal pegs that rotate. The drum rotates, and barley that goes in there gets whacked by these pegs which spin at an unbelievable speed. When they then go through, you can see here this iron mesh, and the grains just fall through that onto the floor. My other threshing machine that I have is a bit bigger and a bit more complicated, in that once the grain is threshed off by the peg drum, it falls onto a series of vibrating meshes, which are then have an air flow blowing over them to clean the seed. The problem with that is the long awns stuck to the grains get lodged in this mesh and just choke everything up. So today we're going to use a really simple old threshing machine, and the grains will just fall to the floor without any further processing. This machine is probably from the 1890s, and so it would have been designed to use to thresh oats, and oats don't have long awns on them, so it's not a problem. So we'll just get this machine spinning, and I'll stick a couple of handfuls of Bere through it so you can see what it looks like going through. So the machine does a pretty good job of stripping the heads off the stalks here, and left them quite clean. So this is the back of the threshing machine. What we've got here is some of this stuff which is got a little bit of straw tangled up in it, and also some hole heads, and that's stuff that's not gone through the metal mesh. But then underneath the threshing machine we have all this, which is just grains with the awns still attached, great big hairy handfuls. And these are going to need quite a lot further processing in order to separate the awns from the grains. So for the next stage in processing, I'm taking these grains that are still attached to the long thick awns and just tip them in this barrel. And then I'm just simply trying to bash them in order to break the awns off to make so that we can separate them. And the way of doing this is I'm using a battery drill with a plaster mixing attachment on it. So I'm just sticking that in and mixing it up, and a few minutes of this will help break everything up. I can increase the firepower of this simply by jamming a stick in it, which will beat the grains much harder. Although you do want to keep your fingers clear of this. So the next stage of the operation is to try and clean the grains, so we've switched on to using a different machine. This, although it looks like the threshing machine we used earlier, this is a fanner, and it's also about 130 years old from the same maker, which is why it looks very similar, but it works quite differently. So what happens on this machine is the mixture of grain and chaff gets tipped into this big hopper, where it comes out onto these mesh screens, which are bigger holes in the top getting smaller and smaller. And there's a fan blowing air across these screens, and the screens are oscillating sideways. So the grain should fall through the screens and down a chute, or down two different chutes to separate out the two different grades of grain, and all the chaff should get blown off the end of the screen. So we'll get this set up and we'll see if it works. So there's quite a lot of strawy stuff going through here, which is not ideal, and it's not really what this machine is built for, such strawy stuff, but we seem to be working. Because if we look, the material that we're putting through, there's quite a lot of straw and chaff in there. However, coming out of the bottom, first of all, we have this stuff. This is the lighter stuff, that's grains that are still attached to heads mostly. And then this exit is the cleaner stuff. And this is reasonably clean. There's still a few ons in this. But I think with a little bit further processing, we could clean this up further. So I've put the lighter stuff that came out, that's grain still attached to the heads, back in the barrel and bashed them about a bit with the mixer on the drill again, just to try and loosen up as many grains as I can and get them off the heads. And I've done that 2 or 3 times. So now that I'm finished, what we have here is, this is the remaining lighter stuff. There's still some grains in there, mostly still attached to the heads. We could maybe work that a bit more and get some more out, but there's not a lot left there. Next we've got this. This is the good grains that we've threshed out. It's not perfect, there are still ons in there, but it's looking an awful lot better. It's not bad. We could maybe work a little bit more, bash them about, see if we can clean up some of the last of the ons, but not today. And third of all, I've got this little bucket here. This is the stuff that's fallen through the finest mesh on the shaker screens in the fanner. So this is largely undersized grains that are able to fall through the small holes, and there's probably a little bit of dust and dirt falling through those holes in there with this as well. So it has been possible to thresh the Bere barley using this old machinery. However, it's kind of labour intensive. That's quite a lot of hours, quite a lot of work to get to this stage. So I hope that's been of some interest or use to you.